Peace of mind on the floor. Take a little time. Come and see. Move with me. Give a little sign. I'll be there after a while if you want my love. We can boogie on down, down, boogie on down, down, boogie on down, down, we boogie on down, on down. Let's groove tonight. Share the spice of life. Baby, slice of life. We gonna groove tonight. Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks? You damn right.
Welcome, welcome. Let me face this camera. How y'all doing tonight? Welcome to another Radical Republicans live show. I am Jerome Bell, and you are listening to the Radical Republicans live show, broadcasting live from the heart of Idaho, where real Americans still believe in the Constitution, hard work, and putting America first. I am your host, Navy retired veteran, real estate professional, and definitely a proud America only. America only. Yeah, I used to say American first, but America first has been hijacked, I think, by some infiltrators. So I am an America first patriot who definitely refuses to back down when it comes to defending this great nation. I took an oath, and I live that oath every day. But tonight we have a lot to unpack tonight. Man, what a week. What a week, huh? We're talking from Ukraine to our southern border, our northern border, the Oval Office, to Congress, to the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina. The news cycle has pretty much exploded this week. And we're going to talk about what I think are traitors in Congress. Traitors in Congress, y'all, but I think we have a few of them. We all know who they are. So if you got a drink, these stories directly impact your family, your freedom, and I think your future as well. So go ahead, grab your coffee, grab your Hennessy, grab whatever you drank, your glass of red wine, your white wine. We used to do some jazz on. We used to throw some jazz on in the background when it used to be the Jazz Lounge Live. We used to do that, but because freedom doesn't defend itself and the truth doesn't tell itself, this is what we do on this show. This is what we do on this show every single Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unedited, unfiltered, uncensored, unapologetic truth here on the live Radical Republican show. And I thank you. I see you all, Carolyn over there, Susan, Jackie on YouTube. I see people coming in on X. How you guys doing? I appreciate you tuning in. And of course, on my Getter chat. See you guys over there in the Getter chat. So get on in, Nicole. I'm waiting on you because Nicole asked me a question. She sent me a text. I'm waiting on her to get in here live. Hopefully she'll be in so I can answer it for her. I'm gonna do it. If y'all have questions, she says okay, I'm on it. So make sure you get in here. If you guys have questions, throw them up in the chat. If you want to come on the show, I'm gonna do a sound check real quick, okay? But if you want to come on the show, let me know. Let me know, and I'll put the chat link up in the. I put the link to the show up in the chat. Rather, we're live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. We're live on. I'm getting some feedback here. Hold on, because I think this thing. Hold on. Let me check something out. I'm on my board here. On my this soundboard. It's kind of wacky today. It's a little bit. How you guys sound? How's the sound? You tell me. Does it sound good? Does it sound good? I'm gonna pop some effects in. I'm gonna. Oh, I think that sounds a little better to me anyway. In the mic. Yeah, I produce my own show. I don't have a team. I don't have a big team, so I got to do this all myself. So, you guys, let me know how it's sounding to you out there in the world. Out there, I found out I had a listener. I know I have listeners all over the nation, but I did find one I went out in Colorado. I was subbing. Actually not subbing on Veterans Day. I go to this school and I talk to the students, second graders, fourth, fifth, seniors. I was part of the Veterans Day program before I spoke with the students, and I was sitting having lunch with them, and a lady that works in the school. I'm not gonna name the school. I'm not gonna name any names, but she came up to me and said, "Oh my God," she said, "my dad loves you." My dad, hey Lisa, I see you in there. Lisa, back in the chat, man. So on YouTube, I see you. And so she came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "I wasn't gonna tell you this because I'm sort of embarrassed." She said, "But my dad loves you. He like believes in everything you say. He's trusts everything you say. You're like a celebrity in our house." And he lives in Colorado. He lives in Colorado. So I appreciate that. And I'm not gonna say anything, but she's a principal of a school. I'll just say that. Principal of an elementary school. Okay, so before I get in, let me hit you with Supermassive Black Coffee, my sponsor. So are you tired of the same old corporate coffee, diluted and devoid of character? It's time to break free from the chains of mediocrity with Supermassive Black Coffee. Crafted from 100% organic beans, this coffee is fire roasted in a Victorian era roaster, a relic from an age when true craftsmanship thrived. This unique process allows the flames to caress each bean, unlocking bold, rich flavors with dark chocolate undertones and a smooth, smoky finish. In a time of soaring coffee prices and supply chain disruptions, Supermassive Black Coffee stands as a beacon of quality and resilience. While others compromise, this brand remains steadfast, delivering a brew that defies convention and invites coffee lovers to explore the depths of flavor and mystique. Join the rebellion against the mundane. And it's Christmas time. You guys go to supermassiveblackcoffee.com and use code MAMBA, MAMBA, and get your 20% off of your Christmas gift for someone. Embrace the conspiracy and sip the mystery. So go to Supermassive Black Coffee and check it out. You get 20% discount for using the code MAMBA, MAMBA. So go check it out. All right, so man, so this week, wow, this week has been a week, right? I mean, you had MTG quitting. We'll get into that. We had these, what I think are traitorous Congress people, right? So I mean, but this is what's going on in your country right now. So let's hit on this Ukraine thing because I think the MTG thing and the Trump thing has overshadowed a bunch of, I think, what's going on in the world. We got this Ukraine thing going on because the mainstream media, of course, they're going to spin this, story like, like a top, and they're hoping you won't notice what's really going on. But I'm going to tell you here what's really going on, I think, for the betterment of your knowledge, because the mainstream media, well, they're, Trump would call it fake news, right? But President Trump, he has put forward a 28-point peace plan to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, and he's given Zelensky until Thursday to accept it or reject it. Trump does that. Like he gave the Hamas to tomorrow or whatever to lay down weapons or whatever. The peace deal stuff. But supposedly he gave Zelensky to Thursday until Thursday to accept it or reject it. And so what the establishment is doing, right? They're calling it too favorable to Moscow, too favorable to Putin. They say Trump is appeasing Putin. These are the warmongers. These are the Lindsey Grahams of the world, who I still don't understand why Trump backs this guy, man. He throws away, I think, an America first person, but we know how Marjorie Taylor Greene is. We know this, right? She will go with the win, and I know she was with Kevin McCarthy, but she always voted right. And I tell that to anybody. I'm not a fan, or was not a fan of MTG, because I know she went with the win. She flip flopped. She paid. I mean, it just is what it is, right? All of them up in Congress do it, right? All of them do what she does. They try to cozy up to the president, and but when you speak, when you don't follow the taglines, when you don't follow Trump will get you, man. He got Bob Good, which was a good friend of mine, and but let me tell you something about how peace plans work. Unless you're Israel, right? Unless you're Israel, you can break any peace plan you want. You can break any ceasefire you want. Nobody will say shit. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that out there front center. You know, the ceasefire plan, of course, Israel broke it. Of course, they blamed Hamas. Over 300 Palestinians have been killed since the ceasefire, no Israelis. But we don't talk about that, right? You know, we can't talk about that. We get banned, we get shadow banned, we get, criticized. You know, whatever we do, when we talk about Israel, we get you get your feet lowered. Like what happens to me on Twitter every time I talk about Israel, even if it's nothing bad, even if I say that they weren't the chosen people. Oh, you're hate speech, right? I get hit with the hate speech thing if I say Israel was not the chosen people. Pure blood. Hello, over there in Getterland. I see you. I see you, my very, very, very good friend from down in Florida. I won't give the city because I don't want anybody to know where you are. I mean, but if you can, if you want to, you could. But it would be for myself. Actually, I hear you. So, but they require these peace plans I'm talking about, and like I say, unless you're Israel, they require both sides to compromise. Right? This is how supposedly negotiations work. This is how you end wars instead of perpetuating them. And I think this war would have been ended a long time ago if we stopped supplying Ukraine with weapons. I think lives would have been saved. Hundreds of thousands of lives of Ukrainian lives would have been saved. Thousands of Russian lives probably would have been saved. But I mean, if we don't, you know, we just perpetuate them, forever. So defense contractors can keep making billions off the blood of people, off the blood of humans, off the blood of Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers, Russian, people. So and I served 27 years in the Navy, and so I know a little bit. I know a little bit about conflict. A little bit. I understand sacrifice. And I also understand when Washington is more interested in using foreign conflicts to line their pockets and advance their political agendas that are in actual American interest, because none of this is in American interest. War in Ukraine, truly not. But they line their pockets because we supply the weapons, right? We supply the weapons. George Washington warned us, don't get involved in foreign entanglements, and Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex. But here's what Trump is doing that nobody in Washington had the courage to do. And people know, people that follow me, okay, I've been hard on Trump. I'm very hard on Trump, right? I'm very hard on him because I supported him. I voted for him 3 times. And when I feel he's doing something not in the best interest of America only, or they like to say America first, I'm gonna say something. And man, people come at me hard, and oh, I get the line, oh, he knows what he's doing. He's keeping his enemies close, like having the fucking communist Mandami being buddy buddy in the Oval Office. No, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. Oh well, Trump negotiates with everybody. He knows what he's doing. No, and not in it. And watch what happens to New York. You guys watch what happens to New York with Mandami. Mandami is in there doing his thing, lying, like he do, playing a good little boy, right? He knows what he's doing, and I don't think the leader, I don't think the president of Syria now should have been in there playing basketball with our soldiers when, just a few years ago he was trying to kill them. That stuff as a 27-year veteran just gets under me. As an America only that understands that we are in a communist battle for this country. We are in a communist battle for this country, and you put someone like Mamdani, and he's not gonna get out. He's not gonna get out. You see what's happening in Dearborn. You see what happened in Minneapolis. You see what happens in London. When you put these people in office, people move there and vote for them. I mean, we live in a constitutional republic. We select and elect our leaders basically by voting, is what we all think anyway. We're not going to get him out, okay? And so maybe that's what Trump's doing. He wanted to be friends with Zamdami or Mamdami or whatever frick his name is, Mamdani. And I don't think he's legally in the country anyway, but I digressed a little bit. Let me get back to this. I digressed. But Trump is saying enough is enough. No, and I think the enough is enough thing is more or less for Zelensky than it is for Putin because Putin don't give a shit. I honestly don't think Putin gives a shit what Trump says because the sanctions that we've put on Russia doesn't work. They don't work. I mean, Russia don't even use the US dollar. They use their own dollar. The sanctions does not work on a country that that does not have a world bank. Russia does not have a world bank. They don't bow down to the IMF. Their currency is backed by gold. They can trade with whoever they want to. So I don't think that works on Putin. So I think there's more for Zelensky than it is for Putin, to be honest. But supposedly he's telling Zelensky the same thing he's telling Putin. I mean, in public, maybe. In public, we're ending this war now because it's not happening. So in Trump's poll numbers, I believe, are going down, especially with what's been, going on with the Epstein files, and we'll get to that a little later. But is the plan perfect? No. No, I don't. And of course, it's not going to be perfect for Ukraine. But I mean, the winner, Putin has won the war. Ukraine could never imagine even beating Russia. I said that in the beginning. It's not going to end well for Ukraine, and we're not going to keep supplying weapons because they can't win the war. To me, I think it should have been over a long time ago. And I believe, and you all understand the winner, the spoils of the war goes to the winner, right? And so Ukraine is going to have to give up some land. Ukraine is going to have to give up the Donbass region. They're going to have to give up Crimea. They're going to have to give up most of the land that they take, and they can't be in NATO. They can't get long range weapons if we have a quote unquote security plan with Ukraine. We can't supply them with long range weapons. They'll find a way to get them through the CIA, through MI6, or through other channels. Probably Israel is going to be in there somewhere. I mean, but it's what's definitely not perfect, to be honest. It is another year of war. But I'm telling you, I'm seriously America only. I honestly, because I know what's going on in this country, we're losing our country. I honestly could care less. And that may sound harsh. It may sound harsh. Oh, another 100,000 casualties, another $100 billion of taxpayer money flowing into Eastern Europe. That's what I care about. That's what I care about. I care about the taxpayer money that's flowing into these countries while our border remains open on the northern and southern borders, while some people can't afford food. And I tell you this, I went to the food bank, right? I where I shop at. If you spend $125, and thank God I can do that. I did say America only first. Susan knows. Susan knows. Me and Susan, we communicate a lot, and she knows I was the first one to say America only. The first one. Thank you for pointing that out, Susan. And it's been hijacked. It's been hijacked a little bit, but it's been hijacked by the same people that gave you America first, the neocons that gave you, MAGA cult, the MAGA cult, right? Because there's MAGA and there's MAGA cult, right? And you have to understand that. And you have to understand that, I'm definitely not part of MAGA cult. I get attacked by MAGA cult, especially you guys see it, all of you that follow me on Facebook. Who's going after the Pope? Okay, so let me get back to my story. And I'm checking the chat, and I'm like, who's going after the Pope? Not that yeah, yeah, I won't say what I want to say, but anyway. And like Lisa said here, I mean, the whole thing, if you don't go with the president, then you would get primaried, and that's bullshit. Basically canceled now, right? I mean, you're getting canceled by the president. Look what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. But anyway, Okay, so I was at the food bank. I'm gonna go back to this, right? Because I'm talking about people that can't afford food, right? And we know the system gets abused. We know that, right? We know this. And but and I also know that some Americans can't buy food, can't buy gas, can't pay their bills. I know for a fact young Americans can't buy a home. You know, my son has a great job. My son probably makes 60 something, $70,000 a year, one of them. And he can't buy a home because he can't afford it because housing prices for young Americans are just outrageous and through the roof. And this is because of a housing shortage because we have 50 million illegals that should not be here. That should not be here. And that's not taking care of America. But I was at the food bank. And, you know, I got a place I shop at. If you spend $125, they give you a free turkey, right? And so I can afford a turkey, thank God. So I took my free turkey and I took it to the food bank. I took it to the food bank here where I live locally. And you know, it hit me. You know, I've been to food banks before. I've you know, um during the holidays and stuff, I work food banks. I have delivered food. I've packed bags. I've served people. You know, but this time it seemed a little different. This time when I went to the food bank to donate my turkey, it seemed a little different. It was boxes. It would seem like it was more boxes of food. It was more people standing in line. It was, you know, um, more people, that seemed like they were suffering. And this is America, man. We shouldn't have this in America. We shouldn't have this in America. So we have people that can't afford food, can't afford homes, can't afford college students, and but we're giving billions and billions of dollars to countries like Israel. We're giving billions to Ukraine. We're bailing out countries like Argentina. People say, "Oh, that's just a credit swap." The credit swap. They, do you understand that we are 30, probably 37, 38 trillion dollars in debt? Argentina's economy is failing. We're bailing out Argentina. You're going to tell me, oh, it's just a credit swap? Credit of what? Bad credit? Credit of what? Bad credit? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? When we should be keeping our money here in the country, taking care of America only, right? Taking care of America only. That's what we should be doing. So, and then we have Chuck Schumer. He came out today, I think. And he said the plan gives Putin just about everything he wants. All right, really? Really? They won, Chuck. They're winning. They won the war, Chuck. Of course, they're going to get pretty much everything they want, Chuck. Right? I mean, but you know what the American people want? They want their hard-earned tax dollars spent on America. That's what I want. Anybody not want that? Anybody not want that? If you are America and America first, America only, you want your dollars spent here. They want a president who puts American interests first instead of sending bank checks overseas while Americans struggle with inflation, with crime, and I'm adding the northern border that looks like Swiss cheese. And to be honest, I'm not so sure. And this just in watching, and this is where a lot, I differ with Trump a lot. I think he's the only president up to this point that did that. But I see a change in Trump. I see we're sending billions of dollars to Argentina. We're still sending billions of dollars to Israel. We're still sending billions of dollars. So is Trump actually the president that can really do that? That will put American interests first. I know he used to be. He seemed like it, right? He seemed like it, but yeah, I think right now, and I know we have to support President Trump. I'm good with that. And I'm not gonna be the guy that walks on a plane and hope it crashes and tell the pilot, "Oh, I hope you crashed the plane." My brother's keeper, what's happening? I'm glad you could join us tonight. I'm not that guy, but I am that guy that's gonna, tell the pilot, "Hey, dude, you you, you might wanna." I know when I flew with my pilots, I got over 9,000 flight hours. I know I told my pilots if they were doing something that I thought was unsafe, hey man, you better check that shit, right? I mean, you might want to check that. Hey, we got a problem back here, man. Hey, no, we're not taking off until the problem is fixed, you know? And I think right now, yes, Trump is the pilot of this ship. Trump is the pilot of this plane, but he's going off course. He's deviating, I think, off course a little bit, right? And Jackie says, where's the supposed dollars or money that's coming from the tariffs? Apparently it's coming in. Apparently they say, hey, we're making trillions and billions of dollars off of tariffs. Yeah, but where the hell is it, right? I'm with you. Where is it? Where is it going? Is it going right back out? Is it going right back out? Is it funding America only? Where's it going? Is it coming in and then going to Argentina on the bailouts? Right? So is this where we are? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the treasurer. I'm not Scott Benson or Bennett, whatever. Benson, whatever his name is. Bissett, whatever shit. Not that guy. I don't know where the money is going. I know where it would be going if I was president. I'm gonna do a show. Okay, so here it is, right? I think maybe next week. I'm gonna see if you guys want to agree with it. Will agree and get people to watch, right? I think I might do a show next week that entitled "If I Was President." If I was president, and I'm going to give you my platform, right? I'm going to give you some of my platform next week. If I was president, this is what I would do. So we're going to play a game next week. The whole show, I'm going to lay out, if I was president, this would be my platform. And what do you think about it? So we're going to have some fun next week. I want my money back too. I want a picture of Bubba. All right. So next week, we're going to do a show here on the Radical Republicans Live show, and it's going to be If I Was President. I don't know how many people would ever vote for me, but because people are stuck on, oh well, you don't have billions of dollars and blah 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 whatever. You're not rich, People have gotten into this thing that only lawyers, only politicians, only the billionaires, because it's so money generated. Only billionaires can run for president and run shit and do shit. But I think those people have got us in $37 trillion of debt. $37 trillion of debt, and they're not America only. I tell you this. I definitely would tell you this. Right? I would run a campaign, and this is the takedown that I would do. I give you a little preview of what I would do, right? I would run a campaign across America where only America only candidates in Congress would be elected. Because you can't have an America only president without an America only Congress. You have to get rid of Congress, because if an America only president got elected and we still had the bullshit Congress, nothing would get done, right? I mean, you sort of see what they did to Trump, right? Let's just use Trump as an example, right? His first term, he didn't have all America first, or every person in Congress that wanted to do his agenda, so didn't anything get done. We lost the midterms, they impeached him, he lost the election was stolen, he came back, and pretty much the same shit, right? So we pretty much get the same shit. I don't think the problem per se is the president. The problem is the Congress. The Congress passed the laws. They have the purse strings, right? I see somebody new in the chat. The Micro Arc Sage. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see. Okay, so you're new, so I'm gonna throw your chat up. I'm gonna put this up before I move on, right? So he says, he says he's a horrible human being deprived of all ethics and empathy. How could you believe he has your interests at heart? From what have you seen so far, his priorities are quite clear. And then he says, oh boy, this is the epitome of American arrogance. He says, America first, America only. America is not a planet or an island separate from the world. Very good. America depends on every other country on earth. You must not be from here. You must not be from here. Micro Arc Sage, whoever you are on YouTube. Welcome to the show, though. So either you're, my guess is that you're not from here. Am I correct? I mean, you can be honest, don't lie. But for someone to say that the epitome, and I'm gonna throw that up so everybody can see it, that the epitome of American arrogance. This is when I say America first, America only. America is not a planet or an island. You can't be from America. You just can't be, because true Americans believe in American exceptionalism. I mean, just like every other country, right? I mean, you can go to any other country, probably, maybe even the country that you're from. I believe you put your country first, right? I know Japan, I know Japanese put their country first. I know China does. I've been to over 350 different countries. I've been on every continent, and everywhere that I've gone, everywhere where I've gone, whether it's the biggest shitholes that I've been to or whether it's been the nicest places that I've been to, like Singapore, they always, people, the natives, right? People from there, from those countries, always put their country first. They don't say America first over their country. They always put their country first. So what you're coming in here telling me, okay, you can talk about Donald Trump all you want. I don't give a shit, right? But when you come in telling me that that this is American arrogance, right? When every other native of every other country puts their country first, and you come in and you want to tell me this bullshit? You want to come on the show telling me that I'm arrogant, that this is American arrogance because I say America only, America first before any other country? That's bullshit. So again, where are you from? Okay, you say Americans are humans. This is no exception to that. Countries and borders are but concepts. The planet is open, everyone to roam free. Okay, I'm gonna say this politely, right? I'm honestly gonna say this politely. Where are you from? If you don't want to say where you from, then go the fuck on somewhere, right? If you want to have a conversation about it, okay. Okay, so obviously you don't, because the person don't want to say anything. How about Native Americans? Yeah, they were here first. Native Americans were here first. Okay, and I consider them, America's first. I consider them America's first. I'm sure the Native Americans feel that they're first. I'm sure that they feel that this land is first. See, so you're talking out of your ass a little bit is what you're doing. Okay, you're talking out of your ass, because I know for a fact that Native Americans feel that this is their land and that this land comes before any other land. So you see how stupid you sound? Okay, you see how stupid you sound when you put shit in the chat like that, right? Natives. How about Native Americans? I'm sure I know some Native Americans. I know Native Americans. It's Native Americans that feel that this is their land over everybody else, their land. Oh, and by the way, I have Native American in my family, so fuck you. How about that? Okay. All right, because you want to come in and you put bullshit in the chat like that. I mean, and you still haven't said where you're from. I mean, because you know it's going to be like, I know you're not from America. We all know this. Everybody in the chat already know this. So I'm going to move on from you. So you can keep posting the bullshit in the chat if you want. Okay. And you can keep moving on. Okay. Or whatever the case is. So anyway, this person says, I am native. I do not agree. Well, you're full of shit. How about that? Okay. So, um, You say you're from Xenon, whoever it is. Strom, I am black. Of course you are. Come on, America first. Of course you are. And so we should support everybody. But I know, isn't that foolish? Isn't that foolish, pure blood? Right? America says, America first says, whoever you are, she says, go smoke. I mean, and this is on my Getter chat. My Getter chat is live. And you can't see this on the Rumble chat. I wish you could, but my brother's keeper says, go smoke your crack, you punk bitch. Oh, biatch. We are all the same under the sun. Man, shut up. Anyway, all right, so we're talking, America only. So, so that's the controversy. And that's the thing coming off with the Ukraine foreign policy. So, like I said, you know how the media is going to spin it. They're going to, Putin, Russia, whatever. But they never complain about Israel. They never complain about what's going on in Israel, right? Because most of them are truly Israel first. Most of them are not even America first, right? Most of them. So I'm going to play a clip before I go to the next segment. Okay. I'm going to play a clip. And, because this is the big thing, this sedition thing, right? Do you all think this is sedition? Okay. So I'm going to put this out there. So, I'm going to play this. And I know you've all seen it. You've all heard about it at least, right? And you all heard the controversy, with the response that Trump came back with. But I'm going to play this for you.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
But I'm going to start this over.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So, and Trump responded, someone had posted something, and Trump responded that seditious behavior is the penalty is death, basically, right? So then they came back with, oh, Trump, I'll play that too. Oh, Trump, he threatened my life. I think this is seditious behavior, because here it is, right? There's so much to unpack on there. So much to unpack, especially with all of them being former military and talking about the oath. Okay. Well, I took an oath, and they don't understand the oath, right? So we take an oath to, they talk about, and of course they never did mention what unlawful orders they're talking about, right? Because any person that serves in the military, right? We take the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and to obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over us, right? Which means basically, unless they go tell us, shoot the guy in the head no matter what, right? Okay, unlawful order. We know what we know are unlawful orders, right? But to put something like this out into 1.5 million military personnel and civilian personnel, more than that, but military, right? Because this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to have a mutiny. These are all Democrats, right? These are all, and every last one of them, I put it up. Every last one of them, and I can pull it up on another page, but every last one of them get APAC money from Israel. Every last one. And I think Israel has something to do with them putting this out too. They get APAC money. Every last one of them are bought and paid for. And when you put something out like that, just because you hate Trump, because I never seen them put anything out like that. You don't have to obey unlawful orders when Biden was mandating the jab, right? Where were these cucks when Biden was mandating the jab? Or, right, to take you have to take this experimental vaccine or you're going to get kicked out, right? Or you get put out. And how many people got put out? Yeah, they got, they were able to come back in under the Trump administration, this new one, and under the Secretary of War, Hegseth, right? But how many people got put out because they refused, which they claim was a lawful order? Now, that was an unlawful order because you can't direct military personnel to take an experimental vaccine. So where were these people on that? Where were these people protecting these military personnel and that? Because this is definitely all about Trump. Okay. This is definitely all about Trump because they hate Trump. And a person that may not like Trump in the military, let's take this, they can risk their life, they can risk the lives of their fellow military members, because you can't decide, especially in the heat of battle, what's lawful and unlawful. That is what gets people killed, right? So you're trying to cause dissension in the ranks. You're trying to cause a mutiny, and that's illegal. That is illegal. Let me pull that up, and I'm going to read it. I'm definitely going to read it. So we're talking about in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So I'm going to play a clip also. And if you're in the military, and I know some military people, they listen to this show. If you're in the military, do not listen to those people. Do not listen to those congresspeople. They're going to get you in trouble. Okay, Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 94, mutiny or sedition under 10 U.S.C. Section 894. This, you will get charged with an Article 94. And we have the, Kelly, Senator Kelly, who was a captain in the Navy, UPOS, because you know good and well, when you were a captain in the Navy, if anyone under you, any of your junior officers, any of your enlisted, had disobeyed an order that was given to you or that was handed down from the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, the President of the United States, one of the admirals over you, that they disobeyed an order, whether they felt it was lawful or unlawful, you would have taken them to courts martial. You would have taken your officers to admiral's mast, right? Or enlisted would have faced captain's mast. And you know this. You know this as a captain. So for you to be in that video is shameful. I wish Hegseth would call you back. I wish Hegseth would recall you if you're not already on the retired rolls, and you may be. But I wish Hegseth would recall you to active duty and take you to an admiral's mast and charge you with the Article 94 or an Article 82. Article 82, soliciting commission of offenses. And of course, Article 134, the general article, right? And the U.S. federal law, which all of you can be charged with. And I wish they would charge you. Some of you need to be made, an example needs to be made out of you. because this has to stop. This has to stop. U.S. Federal Law 18 U.S.C. Section 2387, activities affecting armed forces generally, the modern successor to 1940 Sedition Act. Okay? 18 U.S.C. 2383, rebellion or insurrection. What you are trying to do is cause rebellion or insurrection with the civilian population at work, maybe in DHS or Homeland Security or ICE, because you didn't say what unlawful orders. I'm going to play another clip of Slack, and she sort of tried to put it out there, but that's not unlawful orders. None of them, none that the president has not handed down any unlawful order. So you're causing rebellion and or insurrection of federal law, seditious conspiracy, 18 U.S.C. 2384, seditious conspiracy, or 18 U.S.C. 2381, and you're on borderline treason. This is treason. And this is what President Trump was talking about, because I believe the punishment for treason could be death, or sedition could be, I think, the maximum punishment. So this is what President Trump was talking about. He actually didn't mention any names, you know. So they're crying, they're crying and talking, oh, President Trump, he threatened my life. And so I'm going to play his clip here. And of course, these people crying, and AOC and all these people, man, they get on my nerves, right? They totally get on my nerves. But here we go.
There's been a lot of controversy. A lot of people got upset about the video. And let me just say, they are trying to wield fear to get us to stop talking about this issue. They don't want to be talking about the deployment of the military in our streets, the deployment of federal law enforcement in our streets. They don't want to have that public conversation because they know it goes to the heart of who we are as Americans, as a democracy. And so we have a way to deal with this. The Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Homeland Security could do a public hearing, have the American people hear directly from them on the point of having U.S. military and U.S. law enforcement deployed to American cities. Let the American public hear that conversation. I can't think of something that's more fundamental to who we are as Americans. Our founding fathers would certainly want to be having that conversation. So we should have a public hearing. Congress should do its job. My colleagues who are chairwomen and chairmen of these committees should hold these hearings. I think the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Secretary of Defense should sit side by side and explain to the American people why it is we need to deploy these forces into America.
Oh, no, we do want to have that conversation. I believe we do want to have that conversation, because every order that he has given to ICE, every order that he has given to the National Guard has been lawful. Has been lawful. So 2387, Section 2387, activities affecting armed forces generally. Whoever with intent to interfere with, impair, or influence the loyalty, morale, or discipline of the military or naval forces of the United States. 1, advises, counsels, urges. This is what they're doing. Advise, counsels, or urges, or any manner causes or attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States, or 2, distributes or attempts to distribute any written or printed matter which advises, and they should have video in here, right? Because this is, we didn't distribute any printed or written matter. Oh no, we didn't. We did a video, right? Or video, I would say that, or video, right? Or urges insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of military or naval forces. So this is what they're facing. To me, I believe this is what they're facing. I think they should be charged. I honestly think that President Trump should make an example out of these people. We got AOC, up here, and I'm gonna play her.
I think it indicates a nerve that was hit that I think it has been responded to in a completely inappropriate way.
President Trump's wildly inappropriate and potentially dangerous call for 6 members of Congress to potentially be executed or hanged because they issued a video reminding members of the military that they do not have to carry out illegal orders glosses over the fact, because Trump's reaction was so out of control, that this issue of illegal orders is not a new one. There's this new movie out starring Russell Crowe called Nuremberg. The Nuremberg defense, this is the war crimes tribunal after World War II, was that these Nazis were only following orders. And the Nuremberg defense was resoundingly rejected in international law. Carrying out illegal orders is not a defense because you were being obedient. In addition, in Vietnam, there was a whole debate about carrying out illegal orders after the My Lai massacre. That's when a bunch of U.S. soldiers massacred hundreds of innocent Vietnamese civilians. And their defense, again, carrying out orders, and Lieutenant Calley was convicted. That was not a defense. There was a similar debate after the Kent State shootings in 1970, when National Guardsmen shot some student protesters protesting the Vietnam War. And there was a whole debate about whether or not they had been told to fight.
And this has nothing to do with this. None of that. None of that. It's all garbage, right? So this is what President Trump said. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors, I believe they are traitors. I believe they should be forced to resign. I believe they should leave Congress, personally. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. I agree. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. At least put them on trial, because they broke the law. They broke the law. Now, will anything be done? Probably not, because Republicans are spineless. The Republican Congress, they won't do anything like that to their colleagues. Because, why? Because they're spineless, right? I'm just reading the chat, this guy. But totally spineless. So of course they won't do anything about it, right? So, speaking of them, I believe they lost their minds. I honestly do. Because these, the Slotkins, they released the video, they saw that, right? And so before the I would say the media, and I have this troll, I would say troll in here, but you're welcome. All trolls are welcome too. Thank you for joining the show. Now, before the media lose their minds and take the quote out of context, let's be very, very clear about really, really what happened, okay? These are members of Congress. Okay, so we're going to take a step back from what Trump said, right? And let's talk about who they are, right? These are people who swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution, just like I did. And they're actively telling the military to disobey the commander-in-chief. And they can't say that this is not what they're doing and be genuine about it and be honest about it, because this is exactly what they were doing. Think about that. Sitting U.S. senators and representatives are encouraging the military insubordination. And I read it to you, insubordination. That's against the law. That's against USC 18. That's against the law. And especially at a time when we're trying to secure our border, trying to get all of these illegal aliens out of here, because this is what they want the Democrats. They need these illegal aliens in here to vote for them, right? Because we're clearing all the dead voters off the rolls, right? The dead voters are going to go away. So they need these illegals to get the Mamdanis of the world voted in, right? So, when we're trying to restore order, when the president is trying to restore order and make America safe again, another 8-year-old little girl lost her life here in Boise from an illegal, killed her in car accident, killed her, illegal, not supposed to be here. So for someone that for 3 decades, I wore this uniform for nearly 3 decades. So let me tell you, this is a dangerous precedent that these people are trying to set. This is very, very dangerous. And it's not because Trump is going to start issuing illegal orders, because he hasn't. He hasn't. Now, I may not agree with some of the things that President Trump is doing, like bombing Iran. I didn't think we need to do that. I don't think sending money and weapons to Ukraine, I don't think we should be doing that. But are those illegal orders? Are those pilots that bombed Iran, right? They got an order. They executed it. They followed through. Was it an illegal order? No. No, but because these politicians are undermining the chain of command for their own political purposes, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. They're doing it for their own political purposes, and they're trying to preemptively poison the well, right? You know, I mean, I don't think I think it backfired on them, to be honest, because they're getting a whole lot of blowback, a whole lot of pushback, especially from a lot of retired veterans, a lot of people in the military, right? You know, you want, like I say, you want to talk about illegal orders. Let's talk about Biden. Let's talk about Biden, right? You know, and so they're trying to make service members second guess lawful orders, right? So you got a little 18-year-old airman, right, fresh in the Navy, you know, might be mad at his commander, may not even like President Trump. He might be a Democrat, right? So now, you know, these people listening to this say, oh, well, I can disobey orders because I don't like Trump, right? I don't like the politics of the commander in chief, so I'm not going to do that. That's an unlawful order, and I've decided that on my own. 18-year-old airman who's been in the military for 6 months. I'm going to not do that, right? I mean, and I hear that Senator Slotkin, whatever, her home or whatever, just received a bomb threat. You know, I'm not condemning anything that, you know, well, I am condemning. I mean, we condemn any political violence of any kind. You know, and that's just period, full stop. Nothing. No violence. We condemn any violence. But you know what else I condemn? You know what else I think that we condemn? Using your position in Congress, a sworn oath representative, to undermine military readiness and, by the way, national security, because you're mad about the last election. You're still mad. You're just pissed off that Trump won. You're still mad, and that's what you're using your position to undermine the president of the United States, to undermine the commander-in-chief, to undermine our military, to undermine our border security, to undermine our national security, because you're mad. Because you might see, but this is what happens when politicians put party over country. And these Democrat politicians have put party over country. They put their feelings over the country. And I think they're more interested in resisting Trump at all costs than they are serving America. You know, and I think that's wrong. So I'm going to hit the chat real quick and say, yeah, some serious jail time. I think they should. You know, I said this, you know, I mean, you have to understand this too. And, you know, I have this meme, right? The founding fathers, right? If they would have said this, right? If they would have said this to the founding fathers, if they would have said this to George Washington, if they would have said this to those members of the military that was crossing the Delaware, that was fighting the British, that was trying to save this guy, their bodies would have been stacked. They would have been shot in the head. You think what Trump said was cruel? That you should be put on trial and that it's sedition and that you should probably be arrested and the punishment for sedition and being treasonous is death? He told the truth. You wouldn't have had a trial. You would not have had a trial. If you would have said that in George Washington's troops, right? you wouldn't have been there long. Your bodies would have been stacked. Your bodies would have been stacked. Seriously. That's just how it is. And that's just how it is. We can't have members of the military trying to determine a lawful and an unlawful order, even though we're smart enough, even though they're smart enough to understand what is truly an unlawful order. And I gave you an example, right? Just an example. Oh, I see we got another. Oh, look at this, Vanessa. We got some more trolls in the in the galley. You know, so let me. Okay. I want to answer this one. Right here goes. Vanessa Smithhorst. Where are you from, Vanessa? Where are you from? She says, "Sure. Let's bring up this nation's founding when people like you." She's talking about black people. She's talking about black people, right? We're counted as 3/5 of a person, right? 3/5 of a person. So she brought up when people like me, first of all, people like me, I wasn't a slave and my family weren't. But anyway, here we go, right? So let me answer that for you. Because obviously you missed this lesson in history. Obviously you missed this lesson in civics. You probably didn't get it. You may have been asleep. Or you might just didn't attend class that day. Right? The 3/5, let me give you a lesson now, and I'm going to give you this one for free, right? Vanessa, I'm going to give you this one for free so you understand what the 3/5 compromise was. Okay. So for the 13th Amendment, when they were talking about freeing the slaves that the Republicans actually freed, right? It wasn't the Democrats, because the Democrats wanted slavery, right? The Democrats were the slaveholders in America. Okay. The slaveholders, when they were doing the census, right, to determine, right, because the census, and this is why they want the illegals in here. This is why they want certain people in certain areas for the census, because the census determines what? The representatives that you get in Congress. Okay. She says, "Sorry, I have a PhD in physics, something you'll never be able to achieve in a million years." Okay, so this is what Vanessa says. Okay, so doctor, you have a PhD in physics. I'm gonna give you a free lesson in history. Okay, I'm gonna give you free. This is for free. You're not gonna have to pay for this. In Congress, the Congress was run by, or tried to be ran by the Democrats, right? When we were trying to free the slaves. Since you're so concerned about 3/5 and what I was called, okay, you might enjoy this. And they wanted to count, the slave owners wanted to count in these slave states. These were the slave holders in the slave states. They wanted to count every slave as a whole person, right? Now, there were more slaves in the country, there were more slaves in these states than actual citizens. There were no presidents before Washington. You have a PhD, but you are a dumbass. Because sure they were. And I'll name them. I'll get back to you on that. She has a PhD, but she's a dumbass. So they wanted to count every slave as a whole person towards on the census for the population, so the Democrats will have more representatives in Congress, which means that the 13th Amendment in slavery probably would not have been abolished because the slaveholder states would have had more representation in Congress. The Democrats would have had more representation in Congress. So therefore, the 13th Amendment would have been voted down. So what the Republicans came up with was, okay, let's compromise, the 3/5 compromise. You will count them. You won't count each one as a whole person. You would count each one as 3/5 of a person. 3/5 of a person. This way, and what happened during doing that, they did not, the Republicans kept the Democrats from having a majority in Congress, which would have voted down the 13th Amendment. So they did that, and the Republicans kept the majority in Congress, and the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, which was the Black Rights, actually passed Congress, and they would not have been if the 3/5 compromise would not have been passed. So there's your little history lesson on the 3/5 compromise there, Doctor. Doctor, PhD, doctor. And so, you know, and in the chat, right? I guess there's a I guess the doctor says there were not presidents. Jackie told him there were 7 or 8 presidents before Washington. The doctor says, no, there wasn't. There was no presidents before George Washington. There were no presidents before George Washington. Here, let me pull this up for you. Boy, the things these people come up with, right? The things they come up with. All right, so here. This is for you, doctor. 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 I'm going to share my screen real quick. Hold on one second. Doctor. I'm not even going to share my screen. I'm just going to name them for you. No, the hell with that. I'm not going to waste my time sharing my screen with you. All right, so here you go. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so technically there were 8 presidents. Here we are. And I'm really going to fuck you guys' heads up. You know, they say, oh, don't use the language. I can't help it sometimes. But anyway, so technically there were 8 presidents before George Washington under the Continental Federation of Congress, right? Because George Washington was the first president under the United States Constitution. I see these people, they come in and they espouse their bullshit, and they don't even know history. They don't even understand history because they don't research. They only go with what they were taught in school. I was taught in school. You weren't taught this in school because the history hadn't taught you, because you've been lied to pretty much your whole life. So the first president was Peyton Randolph. He was the first president under the Continental Confederation Congress. So the first president. The second one was Henry Middleton. The third was actually John Hancock. He's the signer of the Constitution, right? John Hancock. You had Henry Lawrence. You had John Jay. You had Samuel Huntington. You had Thomas McKean. And then you had John Hanson. Because John Hanson, as the 8th, he was the first to actually serve under the fully ratified articles with the official title. George Washington was officially the first president under the U.S. Constitution, which didn't begin until 1789. So you had 8 presidents before George Washington. And you want to know something else? Right? You had black presidents before Barack Obama. Okay? Because some of these people, some of the presidents were of mixed race. You had Andrew Jackson, who was mixed race. His great-grandmother was black, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was, if you're counting Barack Obama, who's of mixed race, as the first black president. No, he wasn't. Andrew Jackson was. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln, mixed European and African. Abraham Lincoln was part not Somali, Ethiopian. Abraham Lincoln was part Ethiopian by genealogical records. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president. You had Warren G. Harding, the 29th president, who had what they call Negro blood because his family acknowledged one mixed race ancestor in the early 1800s. Had Calvin Coolidge documented Native American ancestry and African ancestry through his mother's line. The 30th president. And they even said Dwight D. Eisenhower is of mixed race, black and white, from an ancestor in the 1700s on his mother's side. So let's just stop, man. So let's just stop with what you think you know because you got a freaking PhD. Shut up. In physics. Okay, so here you are, Miss PhD. Miss PhD of physics. I'm going to ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Miss Vanessa, PhD of physics. And let's see if you can answer this, okay? Let's see. I want you to put on your thinking cap and see if you can answer this. What made Building 7 fall on 9/11? What made the World Trade Centers 1 and 2 collapse in their own footprint, Miss PhD physics? So we had 3 buildings collapse on 9/11, all on the same day, the first in history of the world. You're a physics major. Tell me, why did all 3 of those? Oh, okay, let's just say the first 2 got hit by an airplane. I know that's what you're going to say. Oh, I got hit by an airplane. So what happened to Building 7? She says, what does that have to do with things? Ask the questions I asked you. This is my show. I honestly don't have to answer because your questions are garbage, first of all. And I did answer your questions, especially I answered, Jack, you said, oh, there were no presidents. There were no presidents before. What's my historical source? What? Why don't you go read a book? Go read a book. She said, the Democratic Party didn't exist during this nation's founding. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, and she don't want to answer the question. Oh, I didn't. Answer my questions. I didn't answer that. Hey, but I thank you. No. I didn't read out of Chat GPT, baby. I didn't read that out of Chat GPT, honey. Not at all. I actually know my history. Okay. I actually know my history. I don't use chat. I don't need Chat GPT. And if you follow the show more than just coming on one day, trying to cause dissension and discontent, you'd probably know. So anyway, but thank you for joining me. You guys actually made it very, very interesting. Very interesting. People watching your bullshit, Alex Jones. Okay, so anyway. I'm gonna hit the getter chat real quick before I continue. Oh man, this is hilarious. So you guys hear this over in Getter? Are you guys following this over in Getter? I know you can't see the chat. This is why I say, man, you guys need to come over to Rumble, man. You guys see the chat. But are you guys listening at this? The BS that they're talking over here. These people on YouTube. Yeah, you guys don't forget to like and share the show, man. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Share the show. Get it out there. Yeah, PhD bullshit, exactly, right? This ain't Uganda. I know, right? They're totally in their mother's basement. All right, so we're going to keep on. These people are funny. You don't know history. You're such an expert. I was civil trying to engage. Dude, this is Micro Arc Sage. You came in uncivil, first of all. I was civil trying to engage. You never told me where you were from. You said you was Native American. You came in attacking my Americanism. You came in attacking, talking about, oh, I came in civil trying to engage. And you use foul language. You use you use foul language. Foul language. Right? Unbelievable, man. Foul language. Yeah, well, obviously you don't watch the show because you know what? We don't censor here. You know, we don't care about your feelings. You know, I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know, you might need to come in a little more often, right? And, you know, and check it out and check out the show. You know, maybe you will, you know, be a little more, you know, enduring, okay, to whatever it was, right? Enduring, okay. And you know, what's her name? The PhD is upset because you won't answer my questions. You won't ask. I'm actually scrolling. So here's what I do, right? I go back and forth. I monitor about 6 different groups, right? And so when I'm scrolling through these comments, okay, sometimes I might miss one. Sometimes I don't have time to go back and answer your questions. But you know, one of them, she said, when did the 3/5 compromise happen, Jerome? That was in 1787, girl. That was in 1787. So stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. 1787. Stop playing with me. Okay. They're funny. They're funny, man. They're funny. When did it happen? All right, so let me move on, man. Let me go back to the show. Wow. Hey, but thank you guys. Like I said, man, you made it a little entertaining. All right, so here we go. So let's go back to let's talk about this immigration enforcement because obviously, you know, this is one of the things that I haven't even gotten to you know, playing with you guys. I haven't even gotten to a bunch of the clips, man. The Jasmine Crockett's of the world and all that when she threw out, oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, Jeffrey, they accepted money from Jeffrey Epstein, and it was a doctor, right? All right, but let's talk about what's really making it, as far as this immigration thing, right? What's really making the establishment panic. And that's the enforcement. And I'm talking about the Democrat. You know, as you guys know, I don't say Democratic because there's nothing democratic about them. But I'm talking about the Democratic establishment, right? So you know, this past week, the Border Patrol and ICE, they launched this thing called Operation Charlotte's Web. I like the name, and they come up with the cutest names, right? So Operation Charlotte's Web in North Carolina, and they arrested over 130 people so far. And this is kind of crazy, right? Because over 21%. So you have to imagine how many people this is, right? In the Charlotte school system, over 21% of the students, which was about 32,000 or so, didn't go to school. They didn't report to school because they were scared they were going to be picked up or whatever. I mean, you're in the country legally, your mom and dad, blah, 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 right? So, and these folks aren't really actually your frilling neighborhood landscapers, these 130 people, because ICE is really arresting mainly criminals, right? And some people are going to get caught up, right? You know, Tom Homan's a friend of mine. Tom Homan said, hey, you know, when we're doing this enforcement, since the city mayor and the city police department, since they won't cooperate with them because of what they want to do, they want to go in the jails and they want to take the people out, right? But they won't cooperate. So when they go and get these people off the street, some people are going to be caught up, right? You know, we're talking about pedophiles here. We're talking about murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, human traffickers. I mean, the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst that Biden just let walk right into the country. He just let them walk right into the country. And you know, and I was reading the Washington Post, and I honestly had to laugh about this when I read this, but they published a story about, you know, talking about how I know I got to read the Washington Post to keep up and everything, right? You know, with the left's nonsense, right? So they were talking about how Charlotte's wealthy neighborhoods got a glimpse of what life without migrants might look like. Are you kidding me? And they said it like that's a bad thing, right? Like enforcing our immigration law is somehow a tragedy, right? I have a buddy. He's black, right? Dude in Virginia. He's his own contract. He owns his own contracting company. Okay, and I may have told this story before, but he owned his own contracting company, and he couldn't get business or good business because of the illegals that were in that these contractors that were underbidding him. They were underbidding him because they have these illegals that live 6, 7, 10 to a house. They share everything, so he can underbid. He can pay them garbage wages because they got paid under the table. So now following the laws to someone like my friend, because he said, okay, as soon as Trump came in, this was and his first time being elected, they had to use E-Verify. As soon as they had to use E-Verify, all these illegals were out. They were gone, man. They couldn't be hired. They couldn't be on the street and now he was able to support his family again by getting business and being paid a fair wage for, an American, for being an American. So the Washington Post is saying it's like, this is a bad thing. It's a bad thing. But you know what's tragedy? A tragedy is the little girl over here in Boise that got killed by an illegal. You're talking about Kate Steinle. You're talking about Lake and Riley and thousands of Americans that have been killed by criminal illegal aliens because these freaking politicians in Washington don't want them and refuse to enforce our laws that's on the books. That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy that we have Americans being killed by people that should not even be in the country. That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy. And let me give you some numbers, right? I did write down some numbers for this because I knew I was going to do this segment. I knew I was going to do this today. But numbers don't lie. Even when the politicians lie to you, right? Even when the politicians lie to you, numbers don't lie. So according to the Department of Homeland Security, for the first time in my lifetime, and they say first time in over 50 years, we are on a track for negative net migration for the first time in 50 years. Over 500,000 illegal aliens have been deported. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's 30 million, not enough. But an estimated 2 million have self-deported rather than face the removal, right? Because if you self-deport, you actually can apply again. I think and they're giving you $1,000. They're helping you relocate, plane tickets. So it's actually and you can apply for citizenship. You can reapply to come back the right way. Illegal border crossings are down 95% on the, compared to the previous administration, 95%. Border Patrol has gone 6 straight months with 0 releases to the interior. Do you know how huge that is? I don't think it's gone far enough. I think President Trump needs to put in an immigration moratorium. And I ran on that. I ran on that in 2020 and 22. A complete immigration moratorium until we find out who's in the country, get them out, until every American who has a job, who wants a job, has one. And those that don't want a job, you need to get off the welfare, so you'll probably take a job too. No, but let me say that again. 0 releases. 0. No more catch and release. That's gone. So like I said, I'm hard on President Trump, but I agree and I give him kudos to the stuff that he has done right. Okay. In the border, so far, he's done right. Okay. I don't agree with him on the HB1 visas. I don't agree with him on that. I don't agree with him saying 600,000 Chinese students should be in universities. I don't agree with that. Right. But the border so far, it's been good. No more honor system, actual enforcement on the border, and you know what else happened this week, right? So a federal judge blocked the IRS from sharing taxpayer data with ICE. These are people that we pay. These are people that we pay. Now think about that. Think about that carefully, right? The administration wanted the IRS, which has your address, they have your income, they have your social security number, right? Just to share the information with immigration enforcement of illegals to help locate the illegal aliens who are here breaking our laws, right? And the IRS said no. And a judge said no. So does that mean we need that we literally need to stop paying taxes? We literally need to stop paying taxes. We had a judge that say, no. The IRS can't give ICE that information, but they have it on us. They have it on us. So what they're saying is, what this judge has said, right? The judge saying that the people who are in this country illegally, and think about it. They're saying judge, that the people that are here illegally have more right to privacy than a law-abiding American citizen has to a secure country. Illegal alien has more right to privacy than we do. We're from here. We pay taxes. And they have more rights to privacy? Are you kidding me? See, so this is the kind of judicial activism that has to stop. And this is why if I was president, there would be no more. I would hopefully have a America only Congress who would actually write laws that says no more lifetime appointment for judges except the Supreme Court. We need to get rid of these lifetime appointments for judges, for federal judges. They need to go. They need to be elected. They need to have a limit that they can serve just like Congress, right? A term limit that they can serve just like Congress needs to have. So all of this can stop, man. And this is why elections matter. This is why elections truly matter. And if you want this country back, right? An America only election is what we need, right? And like I said, next week I'm gonna do a show. And I hope the trolls come back, right? Because they're gonna love this. No, but this is why courts matter. This is why courts matter, man. These people have more rights than we do. And this is unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable. They want the IRS, who should be abolished anyway. And yes, if I was president, I would abolish the IRS along with the Fed, by the way. Along with the Fed. And so, man, you guys are eating up the chat. Wow. I love you guys, man. You guys making the chat kind of fat. She says, the PhD says, conservatism is a psychopathology. They are utterly disconnected from reality. That sounded really, really smart. Did you ever answer the question about the buildings? Let me go back. Right? Did you answer the question, Vanessa? Let me go back. No. You still okay. PhD. You didn't answer the question. See, so the PhD in physics cannot and did not even answer the question on why Building 7 fell on 9/11. She don't want to answer that. Uh-oh. Is this a threat? Micro Arc Sage? You uneducated fools must be silenced. Ooh. Is that a threat? My gosh, man. These people. So, but I noticed the PhD did not answer the question. So moving on. Yeah, man, you guys want to hear. All right, let's play some more clips. Let's get this. Okay, so wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, I'm definitely going to share my screen with this because Nicole asked me about this. She asked me what was the question on this? Okay, she said, I told her to watch the show. So what's my opinion of this? Okay. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. Shoot. Was it this one? Okay. So this is from Nicole, and she asked me, what is my opinion of this? I haven't read it yet, so I told her to watch the show, and I'll answer. So this is, I guess, a post from some Twitter, right? And you guys can read it. Let me know. Can you guys see that? Okay, yeah. All right, so you guys can see it too, right? All right, so she says, okay, I think, so this person says, I think what we're witnessing with Trump is a careful uniparty orchestration of dismantling MAGA and his base. So when the Democrats are back in power, it looks organic. It looks like an organic unfolding of events. They have to keep the public thinking everything happens at the voting booth. It keeps the poor docile. Docile and complacent. So come next election, the conservative turnout will be very poor. I predict the lowest in years. Due to this contentious falling out with Trump. He doesn't even pretend to care at this point. But I'm seeing it every day on here. People are walking away, and for good reason, but all and for good reason. I had to pull it up to see this, but all by design, I believe. It's all setting the stage for the pendulum to swing back to the left, and it will swing back harder than ever. You guys might like that there, the trolls in the chat on YouTube. Okay, so you guys got that, right? I'm gonna leave that up while I answer. Oh, okay. People that follow me know this. I've said that, to me, President Trump has changed. I hope you're on, Nick. I'm answering your question now. So I'm gonna text her. I'm not even gonna get to all the show, I don't think, man. Wow. So I honestly think President Trump has changed. Is this a careful uniparty orchestration of dismantling MAGA? It could be. It could be, and it could be ran, like you say, by Trump. But I don't for some reason, I don't think this is the same person that started it. I don't think Trump has been the same person since Butler, Pennsylvania. If you think about it, if you want to go back, right? Yes, some things yes, some things no. I think people will still come out and vote because this is what people do understand, right? And you know, I'm thinking, yeah, we may end up losing the midterms. You had MTG that's resigning, saying that she felt like they were going to lose the midterms and she didn't want to deal with the bullshit of her primary going up against millions of dollars. You know, but like I said before, right? I believe that Trump is being handled by Susie Wiles. I believe that Susie Wiles is his Israeli handler. Is what I believe. I believe that because everything that he's done has been really not America first, but it's been for Israel first. And anyone that has gone against the Israel first mantra, right, or going against Israel period, has been attacked. It has been taken. If you are a congressperson, this is why a lot of Congress people won't speak up. If you are a congressperson like MTG, like Thomas Massey, and you talk about America first, and you talk about and you don't mention that, and you talk in a negative light, I guess you can say, against Israel, you have become a target. You are a target, and you have become a target with President Trump or to President Trump. It seems like, and I think this is because he's being controlled by Susie Wiles. Trump even admitted himself, Susie Wiles is the strongest lady in the world. She takes down countries. How does she take down countries? She takes down countries because she's an advocate and she works for Israel. Did you guys know that Susie Wiles, I think I said on the show before, that Susie Wiles actually went to Israel in Trump's first term to help Benjamin Netanyahu get reelected? Did you guys know that? He said it in the Oval Office or wherever he was. Susie Wiles takes down countries. See, she is the strongest lady in the world. He said that. He said that. So I believe this is a quote unquote dismantling of MAGA, a uniparty orchestration. I do believe so, to be honest, in a sense. This is why we have to get away from the uniparty. This is why we have to get away from the two parties. This is why we have to have an America-only president and an America-only Congress. And I know people are going to start hijacking that because I just put that out public. And you're going to start hearing people say that because they want to try to hijack what I'm saying. Well, Vanessa, we agree on something. Trump's completely in bed with Netanyahu and Putin. I don't think he's in bed with Putin. He's definitely in bed with Netanyahu. But so, see, there you go. Your PhD has said something there. Look at that. We can't agree on something, Miss PhD. Putin don't give a shit. Putin's not in the same Putin's not in bed. Putin don't give a hell what Trump says and does. Because like I said earlier, nothing we do affects or can hurt Putin or Russia. So people are walking away. People are walking away. I mean, because they see the distrust. They see that Trump is going away from his base. Trump is going away from what we elected him for, to a sense, right? He's on the fence on some things, right? He's on the fence on some things, but this takedown of MTG, the takedown of Massey, the trying to protect the Epstein files, the Epstein people, to protect the pedophiles, right? That's not what we voted for. That's not what we voted for. And you're right. If this pendulum swings all the way back to the left, yeah, it's going to be hell to pay. Trump's going to be impeached again. It's going to be hell to pay. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be enough people to vote and keep at least the House, and maybe the Senate, right? But 2028 things has to change. Not many things are going to change in 2026. Okay? Not many things are going to change in 2026. But 2030, there's 2028, a lot of things could change. A lot of things could change in 2028. And we're going to talk about those things next week. We're going to talk about some of those things next week. Okay? And to give the Twitter roll up. I love it. I love it, my people. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this post. You guys see that, right? All right, so I'm going to, let me get out of here. And all right, so man, it got sort of short. So let's talk about the Epstein's files for these last 10 minutes or so, right? All right, so something that's okay. So you guys know the Epstein files or whatever finally got released, but they got released with a caveat: only the unclassified stuff, right? So they're going to say, oh, and John Stephen tried to say, oh, we're going to keep the stuff because of national security. They always want to bring up this national security stuff, right? And my question is, what does national security have to do with releasing the names of pedophiles that have hurt children? Is it because these world leaders? Is it because a lot of people in Congress, a lot of judges, a lot of politicians worldwide are all caught up in this, and it could bring down countries? Well, damn it, let the countries fall. We're talking about children. We're talking about people that were molested, and it's still going on. It's still going on because these people need to be shut down, have to be caught. They need to be shut down. So President Trump, reluctantly, and I'm going to say reluctantly, right, because he didn't want to do it. And some people say, oh, he was playing a game on the Democrats to get the Democrats to want to, because it seems like, right, a lot of this has a lot of the emails and stuff have a lot of Democrats in it. Hakeem Jeffries, who was soliciting funds from Jeffrey Epstein, right? And then clearly Jasmine Crockett made an ass out of herself on the floor. Oh, these are the people that received money from a Jeffrey Epstein. And of course she was talking about the Jeffrey Epstein, but she tried to backtrack, make herself look like a fool. And she mentioned, people, and then, and the guy came out. I forget the guy she named Zeldin, right? Lee Zeldin, right? Came out, I mentioned him. Oh, got money from Jeffrey Epstein. Then he came out, you dumb twit, basically. Yeah, that's Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, had the same name. And then she's like, I didn't say the Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. Yeah, you tried to imply that, just like these people are trying to imply mutiny, right? All right, so he signed the legislation, and I want to commend everybody that signed it. I want to really commend MTG and Thomas Massey, and Ro Khanna from the Democrat side. They stayed fast. They forced it. and they got people on the record to vote. They got people on the record to vote, and this is what they wanted, right? They had to. They could not vote this because it's coming up on election. The first thing you say, how come you didn't sign the legislation to release the records, right? So it has 30 days. So he signed it. So it requires the Department of Justice to release all the files, but and I want to say all of the unclassified files because it says unclassified clearly within 30 days. So both the House and the Senate voted overwhelmingly, right? Because guess what, right? We deserve to know the truth, even though I don't think we're going to get the whole truth. I don't think we're going to get the whole truth. You know, and like I said, I don't think Trump is on video or anything like that because they would have used it a while ago. I mean, this is my feeling, right? So he made it clear he had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein years ago, and he did kick Jeffrey Epstein out, right? And they haven't been friends in decades, but they're trying to say, oh, yeah, they used to be friends. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein were friends with everybody. This is the problem. I mean, you know, Bill Clinton, you had the Harvard president, Larry Summers. He's on leave. Oh, I'm taking leave of absence because I'm in the, yeah, but you do. You're a pedophile, man. I mean, you're up in there, right? And other members of the political academic elite, a lot of them, right? A lot of them. So the Trump administration ordered the investigations into these connections. I don't know how much Cash is going to do, how much Pam Bondi is going to do, because I know they're gatekeepers. I've told you guys this. I told you guys they're gatekeepers, right? And we still haven't had any arrests from nothing. I told you from the beginning, man. You know how much I got attacked from the cult. Oh, give them time. Pam Bondi just got there. Okay, so how much more time should we give her? How much more time should we give her, right? So my thing is, if you're a powerful person, whether it's world leader, whether it's the Prince Andrew that were involved with a convicted sex offender, child predator, and you participated, the American people have a right to know. And there's one other thing too that the American people need to know about, right? And that's that slush fund up in Congress that pay people off for these congressmen, for these representatives that has partook and have, you know, paid people off for sexual exploitations or for sexual whatever, right? There's this slush fund up in Congress that needs to be released. MTG, can you release that before you leave in January? Can you do that? Thomas Massey, can you do that? I want to know the people that have used that slush fund that's sitting in Congress right now. That has to be released. And I think that one is more important today, right now, because we have people in Congress that's representing us that have used that. And I think that list is more important right now than the Jeffrey Epstein list. Not saying that it's not important. This one is more important to me because these people are serving and these people have used that slush fund. And for those of you that did not know about that slush fund, now you know. Ask your representatives. We want to see the list. We want the names on that list. That list needs to be released. This is what we want. You know, because it's something about holding this power, right? This is about transparency. I don't want no special treatment for the elite, no exceptions, no special treatment for members of Congress, nothing, right? This is about justice. And this is about holding the powerful accountable, something that Washington has refused to do for far too long. And I believe the American people are tired of it. I believe they're tired of it. You know? So, I mean, and you have to understand, none of these stories are separate. None of the stuff that we talked about, I didn't get into other clips. Maybe I get into that next week a little bit more, you know. But these are not separate. They're all connected. Okay? They're all connected. So what we're witnessing right now, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up in next 6 minutes. I know I try to hold it to 2 hours. But this is a fundamental battle, spiritual. This is a spiritual battle between good and evil, all right? This is between two visions for America. On one side, you have, and I say President Trump right now and millions of Americans who believe in this, right? And I say President Trump because right now he's the president, and that's all we have right now, right? But definitely millions of Americans. Let's just say not President Trump because I'm having some issues right now, right? But I know it's millions of Americans who believe in this, right? The sovereignty of our country, meaning that we control who comes in and out of our country. We want constitutional order back. This is what the country was founded on, meaning the chain of command and the rule of law matter. The judges don't get to decide from the bench, right? They can't write law from the bench. We need constitutional order back in this country. Transparency. Meaning that the powerful, whoever they are, don't get special treatment. They don't get special treatment, right? America only. People say America first. Yeah, America only, then first, right? America only. And I know a couple people on the YouTube chat, they don't like that, but that's okay. That's okay, because you're probably not from America anyway. Probably not. But it means that our interest comes first before any foreign conflicts, before any international obligations. We come first to us, just like every other country. Citizen, they believe that their country should come first before America, before the United States. If you haven't been to any other country, go freaking ask somebody, right? Just go ask somebody that lives in another country. Who comes first? Australia. Ask in Australia. Who comes first? Australia or the United States? They'll tell you Australia first. Go to Karachi, Pakistan, one of the biggest shitholes in the world. Ask them. Ask them. Who comes first, Pakistan or the United States? They say Pakistan. So get out of here with your bullshit in the chat with, oh, you're selfish. America is not an island, blah, blah, and all this finagle BS, right? America only, America first. Period. And on the other side, right, you have these establishments, right? You have Democrats and Republicans. People in there mentioned the Uniparty. This is This is what the Uniparty is, right? Who believe in open borders and unlimited migration. That's the Uniparty. Resistance to lawful authority. They don't like the politics, right? We got a couple people in the chat that seems like they're on that side of the group. I know they're Democrats. They have to be Democrats. That's in the chat, but you have Republicans, the Uniparty, right? And they believe in protecting the elite class from accountability. I don't know of any congressperson that's gonna hold another congressperson accountable except Massey and MTG. Right now, they protect each other. This is America last. They believe in America last. We send billions of dollars overseas to Israel, to Ukraine, while our own communities right here in our country that should be first is crumbling. So this isn't about, to me, right? This isn't about, and hopefully to you too, this isn't about Democrat versus Republican anymore. So the people in the YouTube chat, this isn't about you, okay, versus me, okay? This isn't about you versus me versus Trump, whatever, right? This is about America. This is about America versus the Washington establishment, Democrat and Republican, the Uniparty, okay? It's about sovereignty versus globalism. This is what this is about. It's about the people versus the powerful. It's about the 99% versus the 1%. That's what this is about. It's about the 99% versus the 1% that control the world, that control everything, that control us, right? They keep us fighting amongst each other, right? Let me tell you something. And the reason they're fighting so hard against us, against America, against the people, and really, I say against Trump, and I'll throw him in there, but the reason they're fighting so hard, and I don't even know if I can put Trump in there right now. Okay, because they're calling peace plans appeasement. The reason they're telling soldiers to disobey orders, the reason they're protecting illegal aliens from deportation is because they know they're losing. They're losing this battle. And that's why we have to keep speaking up, right? They know the American people are waking up. We're waking up. Trump, I believe Trump knows it. This is why he's wishy-washy right now, right? The Israel first stuff. People are waking up to that. They know that everyday citizens are tired of being told that enforcing our laws is racist, that securing our border is xenophobic, that putting America's first is isolationist. America only is isolationist, right? And the people have had enough of it, man. They see what's going on. Families can't afford their food. They can't afford rent. We have property taxes that are taking people's homes that they've paid for, that's been in their life for generations, and the government can come and take it. That should not happen in this country. People have had enough of this, right? So this is why we're going to win. This is why we're going to win, right? And I want to say this administration. Right now we're winning. The total administration is winning. Having my doubts, right? But they're actually listening. I believe the administration is somehow listening to a point. Not listening all to his base, not listening to everything that we're talking about, right? Because if that's the case, he wouldn't be at it with MTG right now. He wouldn't be at it with Thomas Massey right now. So, I want to get in. I really want to get into some calls. Have you, if you want to call in, but we're gonna get to that next week, though, right? All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up, man. It's 10 o'clock. So, first of all, thank you for everybody that came in, right? Thank you for everybody that watched the show. Hey, and thank you. Hey, I honestly, man, thank you to Vanessa, the PhD, and Ed Sage, the micro arc Sage, who never said where he were from, and PhD. I want you to answer that question if you come back in next week, okay? See, so we're on the same page. She said, "Let's smash the power of the billionaire." See how we can get along? You see how we can get along? See, we're not really that much different, right? When it comes down to being people, when it comes down to being Americans, America only, America first, when you put it out, we're not really that different. We're really not that different, Vanessa. Oh, and Vanessa says, who deported more people per year? Obama, Biden, or Trump? Obama by far. Obama by far. That's why they called him the deporter in chief. Obama by far. See, Vanessa, you might have a PhD in physics. All right, but before I go, man, I want to leave y'all with a few thoughts, right? So we're hold on. Before I do, I have to go back. I have to go through my Getter chat, man. I have to go through my Getter chat because it always blows up, man. So Putin puts Russia first. Absolutely. We should be doing that. I think this, did she use Chat GPT? I love you guys over there. I love you, Pure Blood. And Nicole is listening. She said Rumble wouldn't let her check in. Nicole, you should have came up on Getter then, girl. Damn. You know how to come up on Getter. So I love you guys, man. So, but before I go, right? So before I go, I want to leave you guys with a little bit. Like I said, we're living in extraordinary times. And the battle for America's future is being fought right in front of us. It's being fought right now in courts, in Congress, at our border, in communities, on podcasts, right? In the chat, right? See, but here's what I want you to remember. We are winning. We are going to win, not because of Trump, right? Because I think the people are more important than Trump, right? I think the American people are finally standing up and demanding that their government work for them and instead of against us, right? Instead of against us, right? You're working for us instead of against us. And like I say, we have a long way to go. And don't fall for the okie doke. You're gonna have people to come out and start talking about America only. I'm gonna lay out what America only is, right? I'm gonna lay out what a candidate, an America only candidate should be. And if they're not for these things, then they're not America only. So if they're trying to espouse the bullshit, right? America only, America first. Ask them these questions. We're gonna get into it next week. I think we might just do a couple of weeks on this. Okay, but every time we see stories about low, let's say, border crossings, that's a win for us, right? You see criminal aliens being deported, that's a win. Guys, get out of the way. Get out of the way. If they're in the country illegally, get out of the way, right? We forced Washington. We forced them, and the people. It wasn't just Thomas Massey and MTG and Rokana. It was the people. We forced them to release the files that they wanted to keep hidden. That's a win for us. That's a win for us, right? Every time we force them to do something and put our interests first that we want, that's a win for us. But we can't get complacent. We have to keep the pressure on, right? They're wounded, and the establishment, and I'm talking both sides, right? I'm hoping this Epstein list bring it all the way down, man. Whatever they release, right? The establishment is wounded. They're wounded. They're not defeated, right? They'll come back. They'll fight back. They'll use the courts, the media, and everything at their disposal to stop the movement, right? And this is going to be a movement. I'm telling you right now, right? The America only is going to be a movement. I promise you that. And if I have to head it up, if I have to head the America only movement, I'll do that. I'll do that at risk to myself. I'll do that. But someone has to do it. Someone has to run this movement. And it's not MAGA. And it's not America first. We have to be America only to put America first. Because we're still not America first. As long as we're sending billions to Israel, as long as we're sending money to Argentina, as long as we don't have a sovereign country, we are not America first. So we have to be America only before we're America first. So I mean, stay informed, guys. Don't just consume headlines. Don't just watch CNN or Fox News. I don't watch any of that shit. I mean, I get news. I actually research, believe it or not. Okay, and I'm a little smarter than you think, PhD. That's why I knew 1787. That's why I know the Three-Fifths Compromise. Go back and research it, okay, and understand exactly why the Three-Fifths Compromise is. But I gave it to you for free, PhD. I gave it to you for free. All right, but dig into the facts, man. Call these representatives, stay engaged, show up to meetings, make your voice heard, right? And this isn't about personalities. This is about principles. This is about values. Okay, stay faithful to God, family, and country. That's it. Not to politicians, not to president, to God, to your family, and to country. Okay, I served 27 years defending this nation. Knowing character matters, principle matters. And I'm telling you tonight, America is worth fighting for. This is all we got. This is why people want to come here. This is all we got. But we can't allow them to come here and destroy what they're coming here for. We can't allow them to destroy that. Not the America politicians want to create borderless, weakened, globalist puppet states, but a real America that was founded on liberty, built on hard work, defended by patriots, and blessed by God. All right. So that's the America we're fighting for. That's the America I'm fighting for. I hope that's the America you want. I hope that's the America that's worth preserving, for our children and grandchildren. So don't give up. Don't back down. Don't let them tell you that loving your country is wrong, man. Don't let them tell you that America only is wrong. Don't let them tell you that America first is wrong. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. That's the show for tonight. Stand up, stand firm, stand proud, and stand for America. Okay, all right, and we're gonna go out on this tonight. So, but I want to thank you for tuning in to the Radical Republicans Live show. And so remember, freedom isn't free. The truth doesn't tell itself. We have to tell it, whether it hurts or not. Whether it hurts or not, man, we have to tell the truth. We have to be willing to put it all out there. So that's why we're here every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, fighting a good fight, speaking the truth, uncensored, unfiltered, unedited, unapologetic truth. And we're putting America only because we're putting America first. Let me say it like that. We're going to put America first because we're going to put America only on top of that. All right, so join me again next week. Join me again next week for more truth, more unfiltered, conservative talk. So God bless you. God bless your families. God bless the USA. I love y'all. Y'all take care. See you next week. Peace.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life. and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the